Naomi
Yeah,
Akov,
yeah,
I believe in one of the preseason podcasts that we did with Arlo Weisberg. I spoke about Naomi Akov as one of the players who I liked this season at the cheapest. Do you hear that?
No, I lost you when you started talking about Alare, but if you do it again, I think
Well, what happened
it will
was I
work.
was talking about Alexa, and my Amazon Alexa started playing music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast with Javier Gancedo and Frankie Sachs.
Welcome to episode number 26 of the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast. We want to keep this opening short because this is take 3 due to some unexpected technical difficulties. So in short, I'm your co-host, Frankie Sachs, and I'm here with my good friend and fellow co-host, Javier Gancedo, who is, tell us where?
I'm in Sevilla visiting my parents. This reminds me of when I used to record Basketcast, the podcast I had or still have. It's a post with Kino Colom. We could do 6 or 7 takes sometimes. Always my fault. I would start laughing or I would start coughing or it was horrible. But now I'm doing better, I guess. But still, it's take 3. So,
Well,
anyway.
these were technical
Uh,
difficulties, but look at you're such a pro last week we saw with the use of the mute button. You've learned a lot.
yeah, I'm trying. It's episode 26, so we've been doing this for a while already. But I have to tell you, I think it's the toughest week for me in the yearly fantasy challenge. I don't know how I'm gonna handle this. I have a lot of players that I don't want, and I have to choose the trades. And there's some players I want to bring in who are expensive, and I'm really stuck. I really don't know what to do.
So let's start talking about who are the players that you wanted to bring in that you could not afford, you were stuck with, or you're just targeting, even if you could ended up with them.
Thing is, I want Mike James. He's full of confidence after being the EuroLeague all-time top scorer. He plays Alba Berlin in Berlin, high scoring team, and then also Shea Larkin, who I wrote the game against last week game, and he was amazing against Bayern. And now he plays as well, also who had I think a very good first half against Panathinaikos and didn't play well, but it's a team on the rise. Should score a lot of points at home. And I want both. I cannot get both, and I have to choose. And they are exactly the same price. So I'm kind of wondering if I should get Mike James or Shane Larkin, knowing that I cannot get both, which would be exactly what I want. But
Well, I will add
I know
that
what.
there's a third guard who's sort of in that mix a little bit cheaper, but still high price, which is Wade Baldwin.
Yeah,
And I'm looking at all of them. I do fear. No spoilers here. I end up going with James because I'm afraid not to have him because he's so good and he's chasing so many things. But I do fear after setting the record, the all-time scoring record on Thursday night, there might be a letdown and against in a game that could potentially be a blowout. Maybe he's not needed to do as much, and for fantasy purposes, he doesn't give us the type of production that we expect for someone who costs 19.1 credits.
yeah. I mean, I have Baldwin, and I'm keeping him because he had a PR of 30 against Zvezda earlier this season, as opposed to Keenan Evans, who I'm trading, who had a PR of 6 or 7 against Bayern in the first round of games. So I'm trading Evans for one of these two players.
Mm-hmm.
For that, I need to save money, and I mean, I have to do something, and that something is selling a more expensive player, which is Billion Montgomery, who was a late addition to my team because he played 3 consecutive really good games against Valencia. That wasn't the case. He played well. He had a PR of 13, but Jan Vesely stole the show, not missing any shot. And therefore, I'm selling Edman Gomez for cheaper center so that I can afford either James or Larkin. And of course, I've been without Aleksa Avramovic the last 2 weeks, and I really need him on my team. I have the feeling that the minute I sign Aleksa Avramovic, he'll have a bad game. So
EuroLeague
uh,
Fantasy Challenge players, beware. If Javi picks up Alexa this week, we may all have to run the other way.
exactly, I'm dangerous in that case. So we'll see. But there's more than just this decision about Larkin, James, none or both of them. For instance, we have a Greek derby. We have Panathinaikos against Olympiacos. And okay, this is usually a low-scoring game, and it's something to avoid. But would you pick any player from that game?
Well, again, with the puzzle that I was stuck with at the end of this week, I may stick with Matoglu, not because I have a great feeling about Matoglu this week, but because when I looked at the rest of my team, it just might work out best to keep him there. But no, generally that's a matchup that I don't want to be a part of, the Greek derby. However, if Walkup's out, then there is some value there for the Panathinaikos backcourt.
Yeah, more than Olympiacos, right? I mean, it's not about putting the player who replaces World Cup, which would be Luntsis or Nigel Williams-Goss, but going for Lucas all around, right?
Yeah, in general, when you think of Walkup, although he has had some great offensive games and great fantasy challenge games, you really think about in real life the damage he does to the opposing backcourt, and you don't expect somebody to play in and take his minutes and all of a sudden put up great fantasy production. So I think that's where the concern is somebody steps in from Olympiacos and doesn't automatically score more points with the opportunity, but they're not going to match his defense, and I think that opens up some, maybe Kendrick Nunn or Kostas Lukas, somebody like that will be able to take advantage of not having an elite defender on the other end.
I saw that I checked some box scores, and I saw that Matthias Desor had 18, 17, and 19 PAR in 3 games, EuroLeague and Greek League against Olympiacos. I didn't check the cup game. I couldn't find the stats. But it looks like he's solid against Olympiacos, and it adds up to the fact that Antetokounmpo is injured and Milutinov in Olympiacos is injured. I have Lesor in my best team. I'm going to keep Lesor. I would recommend to keep Lesor pretty much all the way, because every game is going to be important for Panathinaikos in this race to even be second in the standings if they're lucky. So we'll see.
One thing I did when I was looking at this week's matchups in general was that I saw a lot of players who I really liked, wanted to pick up, and then saw that next week, which is a 2-round week, but the round 30 game, the one right after this, is a matchup I do not like. And that gave me some pause. Do I want to keep investing in guys in the next week when I pull them already? In the case of FS, where we all want Larkin, I also think Clyburn is a great pickup. They play Olympiacos in the next round, and then Alba Berlin. So you have to, if you invest in these guys, you have to eat them against Olympiacos, which might be a low-scoring game, but then you get them right after that against Alba, which could be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, keep in mind that round 31 is the next with unlimited trading, so that's something.
After round 31.
Exactly, that's something to consider. But even the stars, I mean, I have only 4 players over 10 credits, which are Baldwin, Larkin, Chima Moneke, and Josh Nebo. And I'm not even sure about the last 2. I mean, Moneke I'm keeping for sure because he plays at home. He played well against Milan earlier this season. All around he's great and doesn't have many bad games. But for Nebo, playing against a similar player like Joel Bolomboy, he had a really, really, really good game in Belgrade against Zvezda, playing as home, let's say. But he had a PR of 26. But something tells me that he's not going to have such a great game again. But, I have bigger priorities, so I'm going to keep Nebo for sure.
This is exactly the issue that we run into in certain difficult weeks. That's what makes this a difficult week, that we are going to be forced to stick with players that we don't have great feelings about. And that's why we always say whatever we decide today is not final. Who knows what will happen before Thursday, whether it's an injury, whether it's our gut feeling about something. There could be changes, but we're giving you an idea of where our thinking is when we record this early in the week.
The good thing is that to afford expensive players like Larkin, like James, like Moneke or Lesor, you need cheaper players, and there are many cheaper players now that are doing really well. And this is something that we have to address. Noah Jacob, for instance, in Asvel, he's playing fantastic. He's playing 20 minutes per game, had a double-digit PAR in the last 3 games, I think. Malte Delo of Alba Berlin is playing well. Tarik Biberovic of Fenerbahce is playing well. And all these players are around 5 credits. If you go a little bit upper, you still have Avramovic at 7 credits, 7.1. You have Khalifa Koumadje, who I think is going to play well against Monaco. Plenty of options, like around 7 credits or less, which makes the game more attractive because that makes you want to have them and afford bigger stars.
From a strategic point of view, I'll point out that this week it's again 6 games on Thursday and 3 on Friday. So the best way, if you can possibly build your team, is to keep a couple superstars from the Friday games, and then you can let some of those guys who are playing on Thursday with lesser value, let them run out there and play. And if they get you good production, that's great, and you don't have to wait. I got burned with that last week. I wasn't sure that I wanted Aleksa Avramovic, and I had him on my Friday team. I ended up not starting him, which was a mistake. He outperformed Wade Baldwin, who I started in his place. This week, we've got Avramovic playing on Thursday. Tariq Biberovic is playing on Thursday. But Noam Yaakov, you mentioned, is playing on Friday. So how you build that team and when you want to take those gambles is relevant.
Yep. I mean, in general, I don't think the problem is that he's playing so well. I'm talking about Avramovic, that is really hard to ignore him right now. But I mean, if you think it through, he's going to play Barcelona at Palau Blaugrana. That's always tough. He's going to fight against an elite defender like Ricky Rubio, really wanting to prove himself in front of his fans. I don't know. I mean, my
at his
mind told
current
me
price, I just think that it's silly to trade him. He's playing on Thursday. He doesn't cost much. It gives you many more credits to spend elsewhere. And if it doesn't go well on Thursday, then you bump the bench and have somebody else. If you're able to have, let's say, Larkin, who's playing on Friday, then it works perfectly. Have Larkin and have Avramovic and see where it goes.
Yeah, well, the thing is that if I put Jacob instead of Abramovich, because I don't have Abramovich, I need to buy him. But if I don't buy him, and I'm doing this live, I can put Jacob, and then instead of having let's say cheap center, I can go for somebody better, or at least I can go for another center who plays in round 2, like Giuseppe Fall or Lovenier. So I still have to think about it. But
in the name of fantasy challenge players everywhere, I beg you, don't pick up Aleksa. Leave him for us.
Okay. That's what I'll do. I'll do it for you guys.
But also, Noam Yaakov.
I'll stay away from Aleksa.
Thank you. We appreciate it. In the preseason, one of our preseason episodes, we had Arla Weisberg on the podcast, and we were all picking players, and we asked him and you and me to pick players at the cheapest price point, 6 and under. And one of the players who I singled out was Noam Yaakov, and I said we have to see what his role is and how things play out. But the talent is there. You always look for these types of players. You don't know when it'll come out, but the under 18 European championship types, the best players there, they all come at their different pace, and it also depends. You have guys like Juan Nunez, who's an outstanding young player, and went this year to Ulm and he had more minutes and played outstanding. If he had stayed at Real Madrid, he probably wouldn't get that many minutes. Noam Yaakov was in the Asvel system. He stayed there. Last year he played on loan in Israel in the top league. This year he's back at Asvel and going a different route, getting minutes as a backup. But now that he's played his way more into the rotation, you see he's an outstanding talent for fantasy. There's starting to be some value at that price point, and we'll see who he becomes in the future.
I like that Maltadelo of Alba and Tarek Biberovic of Fenerbahce are playing well because their class were really patient with these players, giving them playing time, and now they're kind of blossoming.
Absolutely. And we said the same thing earlier this season about the Tadas Sedekerskis.
Right, exactly. It's a whole different level because Kerskis is close to being a star. If he isn't right now, he's the second rebounder of the competition after all. But homegrown players, they feel the club, they love the club, and they play differently with more energy, with more passion, and this is something I like. Anyway, head coach, what have you thought? What's your take this round?
I think there's one pick that will almost all of, just like last week. We almost had all the same pick. It's Tommy, right? It's got to be Tommy Slamijatovic.
Oh, really?
I haven't even thought about it. Oh.
No. Who is he playing against?
Asvel.
Oh yes, Asvel. Well, I did the game against Asvel, and even when they lost by 18, It wasn't very fair. I mean, they were in the game for 25, 26 minutes. Nando De Colo had a PR of 25. By the way, he's back and willing to be bought in the Fantasy Challenge. He's a good option. Uh, I'm not going against Sven, man. I mean, I think they could win the game. So I'm going to go for a more expensive coach, and I'm getting Saras against Valencia.
Okay.
Only because Fenerbahce is on a roll right now. They're playing amazing.
I do want to make it clear, just for all the Asvel fans out there, this is actually not a pick against Asvel. This is a pick in favor of FS, which is strong in the hunt for the play-in challenge. And at this point, going forward, I'm going to be rolling with several FS players. I don't know if we'll be taking Mijatovic every week, but I believe that this team is hungry. They want to prove that the Mijatovic effect is real. I believe it's real, and I think that we're going to see a lot of Larkin, a lot of Will Clyburn. Those are guys who I would have on my team if you can afford. I have them now on my team. If you can afford them, you should have them on your team.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, there's no other place in Europe that I feel more comfortable working than in La Fonteta, and everybody knows. I know everybody from the first employee of the club to the last. But Fenerbahce is on a roll, and that's why I'm picking Saras. No offense.
No, I'm not offended at all.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's next? We should tell people about our teams, I guess, right?
Do you want to say anybody who you are nervous about, who you don't want to have this week?
Oh well, I told you, I'm not players to avoid. That's a good one. Let me see. Well, Keenan Evans to begin with, he's been fantastic lately. But playing against Bayern with so many physical guards, I don't see him having a good game. I would say somebody in the Greek derby, just because even when I have McKissick, because I only have 3 trades, I would say that somebody like Alec Peters, for instance, could have problems against Mitoglu. And again, I expect a low-scoring game, so I will go with these two. Let's see. But so far, Alex Peters and Keenan Evans are my non-picks of the week.
Okay, I respect those picks. I think again, this is a very difficult week to pick. There's a lot of high-priced players that I was looking through that I could have afforded, who I just did not want to touch because I'm not confident in them. I've dropped Nikola Mirotic, who has been one of my favorite players when healthy all season long. I still don't know what we're going to see out of Toko Shengelia. Mitoglu, who I have in my team just because of the way it worked out, but I'm just as nervous about the opposite. You said about Alec Peters. I think, what if Alec Peters starts, going off and making threes and making Mitoglu run after him? What's that going to mean? So it's a very difficult week to make picks. There's not a lot of slam dunks out there, maybe with the exception of Shane Larkin.
Oh really?
I almost said Shane Clyburn. Because we should all have Shane Clyburn.
Well, Will Clyburn is playing better. He's back to his usual level. I really, I did the game against Bayern, like I told you, and I really enjoyed the matchup between Vladimir Lucic and Will Clyburn, 2 former All EuroCup first team players. It was amazing to watch, and these 2 players are on the rise. Also recommended, not maybe this week, but on the final stages of the regular season, they're going to be back to the usual level.
How much does Lucic cost right now?
It's around 10 credits, I think. Let me see. I'm gonna check right now. Lucic is exactly 10.1 credits.
So there is a pass. I could. That's interesting. Maybe he's somebody I may be able to drop Mitoglu for, and I might consider that.
Yeah. And he plays in the second turn. That's important.
Yes. All right. So right now our teams are a snapshot in time, but for right now, let's talk about who we have. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I'm starting this week right now with at center, no changes. Josh Nebo and Matt Costello. Mijatovic at center, at the head coach, as I said before. My forwards are Moneke, Mitoglu, Will Clyburn, and Osmani from FS, who's gotten more minutes and taken on more of a role. And at guard, Mike James, Di Bartolomeo, Shane Larkin, and Aleksa. If you look at my entire team, you'll see I have three FS players and the FS head coach. So I am all on FS this week.
All right. Well, my guards are Wade Baldwin, who's Wade Baldwin. Jesus. Starting as captain with Maltadello, Jakov, and Larkin waiting on the bench to surely come out after Thursday. Forwards, I have Chima Moneke, Shaquille McKissick, Tarik Biberovic, and Nate Rivers. I'm really a little bit weak on forwards, but I expect Biberovic to play well this game. And I have two solid centers on Lovagne and Nebo, and I have Saras as head coach. So we'll see. It's gonna be exciting to find out.
Typically, I think what did you have last week? 146 or so, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And
yeah.
I had 150 or 151. Typically, that's not a bad score. It felt disappointing last week. I'm hoping for more, but I'm a bit nervous. This is a week that makes me nervous.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be exciting to find out, and especially because they're great games. I mean, it's not just the Greek derby, but I expect the game between Baskonia and Milano to be a really high quality one and with a lot of tension because Milano is trying to get into the play-in, Baskonia is going to try to get into the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see. Same with Fenerbahce against Valencia. I mean, there are a lot of good games out there, man. Right now, I mean, and for the last. I mean, since the start of the season, the EuroLeague is a competition to watch. It's unbelievable.
And this
every
Thursday,
game is a battle.
So not only is this a busy week with 6 EuroLeague games, but there's a 7th game, a EuroCup quarterfinals game.
Yeah, and we had a bracket out there on social media. I put Juventud as winner, so I smell the upset. Let's see what happens.
My bracket is also out there; it's public, and I have Paris in the final. So. But I've been wrong already because I only got 2 of the 8th finals right. I had Ulm winning.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't remember the other upset I had, but
yeah, well, I'm carrying my mistake all the way to the finals because I had Gran Canaria in the finals. So anyway,
yes. I had Gran Canaria. That was the other. I had Gran Canaria winning at home, but I did not have them going any further than this. So it has not hurt me too much.
All right. Well, again, you can find us on X. My name is Gancedo with double T. I just found out there is a Gancedo with 1 T that has more followers than I have, which pissed me off.
Who is that?
I don't know. It's some kind of a streamer or something. And he's Mr. EuroLeague on Twitter or X. And you can use the comment sections right here below. You can comment and we'll be ready to answer back. And that's it. Enjoy the Turkish Airlines EuroLeague games and make sure that you trade on time on the Fantasy Challenge, please.
That's right. Don't miss the deadline. That's the worst.
Absolutely. See you next week, guys.
Bye, everyone.